I'm very pleased to introduce to you today's commencement speaker. His name is Coach Patrick Haggerty, Immaculata University class of 2016. Hard work, hoops, and heart is Patrick Haggerty's philosophy on business, life, and basketball. Beginning his career in the auto sales industry at Faulkner Toyota, Mr. Haggerty has worked his way up through the organization and is currently the general sales manager of Faulkner Infinity. There he oversees the new used finance and internet departments and all car lots and facilities. He focuses not just on numbers and outcomes, but he emphasizes people and process. As an assistant varsity boys basketball coach for his alma mater, Archbishop Wood Catholic High School, Coach Haggerty recognizes the similarities between businesses and basketball programs. With this in mind, he created a blog, CoachHaggerty.com, where business leaders can discover ways that basketball teams are successful and incorporate some of these desirable components into their own business models. Coach Haggerty is an excellent example of a professional adult who decided to return to college to earn a bachelor's degree. He graduated in 2016 from Immaculata University with a business management degree, and in 2017, along with the leadership of a dynamic coaching staff, Haggerty helped the varsity boys basketball team from Archbishop Wood win their first Pennsylvania State Championship and their first Philadelphia Catholic League Championship. Haggerty lives in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania with his wife Beth Ann and his two daughters, Maura and Carrie. I think you will find Coach Haggerty's story and his message inspiring and very relevant. I ask you to give a very warm Immaculata welcome to Coach Patrick Haggerty.
Thank you very much, President Lettiere. And good morning, administration, faculty, family, and friends. And most importantly, the graduating class of 2019. It's an honor for me to be up here today. I never thought I'd attend any college graduation, and let alone be a commencement speaker. I'm not a celebrity or anyone special. I'm just Pat Haggerty. My story and my path in life are not typical. But then again, whose is? I'm here today because I finally got the courage to share my personal story on a blog I started earlier this year. My former teacher, Professor Raphael, saw my story and passed it along to the administration. Thank you, Professor. Today, as I stand here in front of you, I'm exactly 7 years sober. The journey to get here has not been easy. It was filled with many obstacles that I needed to overcome. 7 years ago, I had a great management career in the auto industry with the Faulkner organization and was recently married. I was 27 years old, and yet I was at the lowest point of my life. I had just recovered from bilateral hip replacement 6 months prior, and now I was entering an inpatient rehab facility where I stayed for 24 days. All I kept thinking was, what are people going to think of me? How did I end up here? I now needed to learn how to live sober, and I've never been so scared in my life. After rehab, I met with the president of our company. Even though I've been with them since I dropped out of college, I was full of anxiety, and honestly, I thought I was going to get fired. I was the youngest manager in the organization, leading my own department and managing men and women 30 years older than me. I was a hard worker, relentless preparer, and top performer. The problem was, I didn't care how I treated people while pursuing success. All I cared about was the stats on the back of my own baseball card. That was going to be my ticket to future promotions, or so I thought. My meeting with the president was nothing like I ever expected. I walked up the stairs to his office. He stood up, gave me a big hug, and said, "I'm glad you're okay. We just want you healthy." Then he was very honest with me. He basically told me they didn't care that I was a top performer if I had to sacrifice relationships and culture to get there. I had a decent work ethic, but I was completely overridden by fear of failure. This caused me to lose sight of what was most important, and that was people. I was too young and immature to realize it then. Fortunately, I was able to stay with my company, but I lost my management position and was demoted back down to sales. That was a very humbling experience for me. Although it took quite some time to realize, it was this type of honesty from the president that saved my career. It made me who I really am today and not what people used to think of me. Looking back, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Going from management back into sales allowed me to have more flexible hours. This gave me the opportunity to learn how to live sober, learn more about myself, and also have the chance to coach basketball, which I've always had a strong passion for. When I was 10 months sober, I got a position as assistant boys basketball coach at West Catholic Prep High School in West Philadelphia. There, I found an amazing team of coaches and players that I had the privilege to coach for 2 years. Each day of my new sobriety was a mental grind. I would then, after work, get in my car for an hour-and-a-half commute to practice, and then that ride never bothered me because I knew I was heading to a safe place where people accepted me for who I was. I quickly learned that coaching the game of basketball was the easiest task at West Catholic. It was everything else that needed our undivided attention as a coaching staff. Our players, their families, their friends had real problems: drug addictions, gang life, rough neighborhoods, and prison. There was one player in particular I was drawn to because it seemed like all odds were against him. His name was Brandon. College was never on his radar, and there were times where I thought he was either going to quit or be kicked off the team because of his behavior. Over time, I began to earn Brandon's trust. I kept showing up when I said I would. I kept calling to text and check in with him, and I told him I believed in him. His attitude slowly began to change and started to gain confidence in himself. And I slowly started to forget about my own struggles because I was so invested in helping him. Fortunately, Brandon was given the opportunity to play in an all-star game, which led him to being offered a scholarship to play basketball for Johnson & Wales University in Charlotte, North Carolina. He also had a passion for cooking and decided to pursue a culinary degree there. It really was the perfect match. His first year, he earned a 3.1 GPA and was doing extremely well. I was so proud of him for pushing himself and going after something he never thought he can do. It was really incredible to see him turn around his life. At the end of his freshman year of school, I even received a selfie from Brandon through text with him in his chef hat that said, "What's up, coach? Can't wait to see you and get in the gym." That was the last text I got from him. Sadly, less than a month later, he was shot and killed while home for summer break. That image of him laying in his hospital bed with his chest open and tubes down his throat is vivid. I'll never forget that. He gives me strength when I'm afraid about something and reminds me to continue to do things that are uncomfortable in life. It was at this point in my life that I realized what the president of our company's message was to me that day. Put others before yourself. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to connect with people who have impacted my life more than they will ever know. Since then, there are two things I emphasize with our players and our employees, and that's character and culture. I live and breathe these every day. They are non-negotiable. And whether I'm coaching basketball or leading employees at work, character and culture win over performance and results every time. Your character defines you. It's what people will remember you by. Good character to me is someone who is passionate, unselfish, humble, grateful, accountable, and coachable. Today, at practice or in the office, we never talk about the results. We stress attitude, energy, effort, and how these contribute to having successful careers, and more importantly, to be great people. What I've learned in my 13-year business career and 6-year basketball coaching career is that peace of mind and a fulfilled heart are much more valuable than a trophy or promotion. Being around people who have a positive attitude, give maximum effort, and have a high level of enthusiasm lead to a much more enjoyable and healthy life. There are going to be days when you fail, but I'm asking you to analyze your day a bit differently. I want you to ask yourself these questions before you go to bed. How did you treat others? Who did you help? Did you give maximum effort, and did you have a positive attitude? Do you owe any apologies or need to admit any wrongdoing? Do you owe someone a thank you or a compliment they deserve? Were your intentions selfish or unselfish? This type of self-reflection and self-awareness will only sharpen your character. I'm asking you to stay out of the emotional roller coaster of wins and losses, comparison, and results. I want you to focus on the process. Embrace the small wins throughout your day. Let's think about how you got this diploma. Are we here celebrating one day getting a piece of paper, or 4 years, or in my case, 13 years, of working to achieve this goal? The message here is that if you build a strong character, you will be successful. The positive results will naturally follow. Character can't be compromised. Over time, I was able to work on my own character through hard work, dedication, and commitment. I was able to regain a manager position with my company. I was doing very well, but something kept creeping in my head. Go back to school, go back to school, go back to school. I brushed it off for a while. I had my career back, I was making decent money, had a company car, a house, a wife, a baby on the way. Everything was great. But each day those feelings became stronger and stronger. So I finally had the conversation with my wife, and she was fully supportive. Nah, this is crazy. I work for a great company where it isn't necessary to have a degree in order to advance. But ultimately, I made a decision to go back to school full-time and leave my career. This was a personal decision to finish something I started. After a couple semesters at community college, I transferred to Immaculata because of their great business program. I had no idea what my future had in store for me. For the next year and a half, I was a full-time student, full-time stay-at-home dad, basketball coach, and still focused on my sobriety daily. When I think of tough times, I think of this period. But I'm also the most proud of this period of my life. With the support of my wife to complete this goal, the help of my family, the advice of my friends, and my faith in God, like President Lettiere said, I'm a 2016 graduate of Immaculata University with a bachelor's degree in business management. But today feels like my actual graduation day because I never attended my ceremony or even picked up my diploma. At the time, our baby was 1.5. My wife was pregnant with our second daughter. We were getting ready to move into a new house, and I was preparing to start back at work the very next day. This period of my life made me realize how amazing my family is. And more importantly, that God had my back, and I trusted that feeling of faith. Today, I'm back in my same company as General Sales Manager for Faulkner Infinity, but really I consider myself just a coach trying to help and develop others. I always have a desire to learn and improve both personally and professionally. Going back to school in my late 20s was a challenge, and it was very uncomfortable for me. But I knew I wanted to push myself to learn more and distinguish myself in thought, action, and achievement. Today, I still coach basketball, now at Archbishop Wood High School, my alma mater. And with my blog, I share how I take ideas and strategies from the basketball court and implement them into my career as a manager. I'm still happily married to my wife. Our 8-year anniversary is in 2 days. And we have 2 bright and beautiful young daughters and a 3rd baby on the way. We haven't told anybody yet, so surprise, Mom and Dad. Thank you. What I want you to know is there is no playbook for life, and the world is going to throw you curves. Through my first couple years of sobriety, leaving a well-paid job, going back to school, raising my daughters, and coaching basketball, I learned the word grit. One day at a time, one foot in front of the other, I got through it. You will face obstacles too. They won't be the same as mine, but you'll face your own struggles. Things will not always be easy, and you will need to work for them. But if you show great character and have grit, you can do anything you set out to do. Graduating from Immaculata University today is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Your journey starts here. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. After listening to that for a lot of reasons, there's a lot to take away from, but there was one thing right in the beginning, Coach, that I thought, you know, maybe I ought to trade in that Volkswagen, come down to Faulkner Toyota. And congratulations to the Haggerty family. I heard you say, Pat, that you didn't attend your graduation. And today, we want you to have the diploma you never received.